Hello, you're welcome. In this video, we are going to be using Excel to solve this financial problem I have on my screen. So the problem is a renewable energy firm is evaluating a small-scale solar farm project. The initial setup cost is $1,050, and it is expected to generate the following net cash inflows over the next 5 years. So you can see the inflows here. Now, to assess the financial viability, the firm uses an iterative approach to estimate the internal rate of return, IRR. By adjusting the discount rate in the spreadsheet cell and observing the net present value, NPV, they determine whether the rate is above or below the true IRR. If a 12% discount rate results in a negative NPV and a 5% rate yields a positive NPV, continue refining the rate until NPV approaches zero. So the task is to use Excel or any spreadsheet tool to estimate the IRR of the investment by trial and error or by IRR function. So what is the closest IRR value that makes the NPV zero? So now we can do this by using the NPV function first. So the first thing that we're going to do when we want to start with this trial by error approach is to check for these ineffective discount rates that have been given to us here and to see the one that will bring us closer to zero faster. So let's start with this 12%. So if I do NPV and then the rate, I make it 12%, then for my values from year 1 to year 5, I close and I add the setup cost, okay, and then enter. You can see I have minus $50 here. Now let's check for this 5 and see which is closer to zero so that we know how to move. So for this one, I'm going to change to this 5 and enter. So you see this one is $147.11. So it tells us that it's easier to move from this 12% than to move from this 5%. So what we are going to be doing now is to reduce by 1% for this 12%. So we try 11, we try 10, and then try 9, and so on until we get a value that is very close to zero, which is what the question is telling us to do. So in this very instance, I'm going to change this to 11%. You can see we have 25 minus 25, which is still less than zero. So let's try 10% here. So you can see 10% gave us a value very close to zero. So we can say the approximate rate is this 10%, okay? But we are not yet completely satisfied with this. So what we are going to do based on the task that is given to us here is to estimate either using the IRR function or find a way to make net present value, completely zero. At the moment, it's not completely zero. So what I will do is to first use this IRR function. So I'll type IRR, and then for IRR, I'm going to select from year 0 down to year 5. Then ignore the case and enter. So you see it is 10%. So let me increase my decimal to see it is still is 10%. Let me increase and see. Okay, 10.03. So you can see what it is. Okay, 10.03. Now, let me try this using the NPV. Now, for me to do this using the NPV, I will just give this IRR any random number. So let me just give it 50%. And then for this NPV now, I'm going to use this 50% to get my NPV. Then use goal seek feature of Excel to get to make it 0 so as to have the effective IRR. Okay, so what I will do now is enter NPV, and then my rate is 50. Then for my values, I'm going to select from year 1 to year 5, close and add my year 0. So I got this. Now I will move from this home tab to data tab. Under forecast, select what if analysis, select this goal seek. Then here I want to set cell B2 to 0 by changing this B1. Okay, so that we have the effective IRR now. And then click on OK. So you can see here now that the NPV is 0, just as it's requested. And the IRR for this is this 10.0029, which was exactly what we got when we used the IRR function. And that's just how this is done. You can either use the trial and error method, which we started with, or use the IRR function, or use the NPV function. And when you use the NPV function, you now use the go seek feature of Excel to get the effective IRR to make your NPV value 0, so that you now know that this percentage is the percentage you consider as you make your decision. So for an NPV that is greater than 0, it is an accept for us, and that which is lower than 0 is a reject in most cases. So depending on what you are evaluating. And that's just the simple thing I want to show us in this video. And I hope you've been able to find this video helpful. Please, if you have, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.